Welcome to this week's Raw Recap. As always in these recap videos, we go over everything you need to know about this important episode of WWE. I give my thoughts on the show, and at any point in the video, you guys can leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. But as always, before we get anywhere in any video, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Go follow the socials, links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that, hope spend a tab, and now let's get you guys straight into this week's Raw Recap. Alright, so we kicked off the show with Jey Uso, and he comes out, and obviously, he's here talking about his match with CM Punk at Saturday night's main event for the world title. So pretty much he says that he has had everybody in his ear. He's had Jey Uso in his ear, he's had Roman Reigns in his ear, and he even says he's had everybody's mama in his ear. But then he says that he's canceled all that out, and after all, it is just him, Uso, and it'll be the same at Saturday night's main event, and it'll always just be, it's just me, Uso. Then he says, obviously the usual 4 letters, 1 word, but before he can say yeet, we then see CM Punk comes out, and there's really nothing groundbreaking that CM Punk has to say. What he tells Jey is he asks him, or he says that Jey, I know that you have what it takes. I mean, after all, last week you threw your brother out of the Battle Royal to win the match, pretty much. So I know that you have what it takes. But he says one big question that he really keeps bringing up throughout the rest of the promo, and that is, how far are you willing to go? And that's really it, man. I mean, that genuinely, there was nothing super special about this promo. It's literally just CM Punk questioning, kind of, like I said, just how far Jey Uso's willing to go, how far he's willing to go to get the world title, how far he's willing to go to capture the gold, how far he's willing to go to get to the mountaintop. That's really all CM Punk really, that's really the only relevance to this promo, because other than that, it's really nothing special. It's genuinely not, and I honestly feel like we should have gotten a little bit more from this promo, because this is literally the only build-up, or the last build-up that we're going to get before these two have their match at Saturday night's main event. So for an opener, man, really nothing special if you ask me. And like I said, definitely could have been a lot better. But yeah, really the only thing that you got to know is CM Punk is pretty much just questioning how far Jey is willing to go in their match on Saturday, and that's really it, man. Alright, and next up we moved on to Rusev versus Penta for the #1 contendership of Dominic Mysterio's Intercontinental title. The winner of this would obviously move on to Saturday night's main event to face Dominic. Now, this was a overall very, very freaking good match, man. I think these two had great freaking chemistry. I overall love this match. There was not one point in this match where I was just absolutely bored. Overall, this was a very, very solid match. The only part that sucked is in the end, or when we got closer to the end, we would see all 3 El Grandes come out, and they would attack both Penta and Rusev. So nobody really won the match, man. Nobody's a #1 contender. But what I think WWE is probably just going to do is do Dominic versus Rusev versus Penta at Saturday night's main event. That's not officially confirmed. That's just kind of my theory. Because obviously in this match we didn't crown a #1 contender, seeing as there was an interference. So whether or not, whatever way it goes, I really don't know, but my theory, like I said, is probably it's going to just be a triple threat with Dominic, Penta, and Rusev at Saturday night's main event, of course, which I'm down for that if that's what they decide to do, because that would be a great freaking match. But just considering this match in general, for overall, from an in-ring perspective, it was overall very freaking awesome. I just do wish that we didn't really see any interference. Unfortunately, we did, and that's kind of my only thing that I genuinely disliked about this match, but overall was a very solid match, and like I said, there is no #1 contender that is officially crowned. Alright, and now we jumped into Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez, and honestly, man, I do think this was a very, very decent match in my opinion. Honestly, this was a pretty solid match. I honestly enjoyed this match for the most part. From an in-ring perspective, I think both of these women did great against each other. I think this match was definitely good on Roxanne Perez's part. You know, I mean, in this match, she even got to defeat a legend in Nikki Bella, because Roxanne Perez was inevitably our winner here. And then obviously we would see Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez do a post-match try to do a post-match attack on Nikki Bella. Then we would see Stephanie Vaquer come out, and she would come out to help and save Nikki Bella. And then they didn't even really brawl from there. So pretty much Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez just backed off. And obviously we already know that this is inevitably building up Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella versus the Judgment Day and Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Now, when do we get that match? I'm assuming probably next week, honestly, on Raw, of course. But overall, just this match, just considering this match, like I said, I do think this was a pretty solid match in my opinion. I think, like I said, both these women did great from an in-ring perspective. It was definitely very solid, and overall, all around, just a very solid match in my opinion. Alright, and now we jumped into Braun Breaker versus LA Knight, and man, you can already expect, you have a guy like LA Knight, you have a guy like Braun Breaker, you put them in a match together, you're gonna get a pretty damn good match, man, and that's exactly what we got tonight. It's no surprise that we got a good match out of these two. So yeah, very freaking good match, very good in-ring chemistry between these two, so overall, very good match in my opinion. Inevitably, though, we would see Braun Breaker, yes, Braun Breaker pick up the win here. I honestly was kind of hoping for LA Knight to win here, and honestly, it's kind of starting to get a bit annoying that we kind of just have LA Knight lose week after week. I am kind of starting to feel that way again. I already kind of felt that way, but it's really starting to feel like that LA Knight is just constantly getting pinned week after week now. WWE did start to get better on that, but I feel like I guess it makes sense because, the Vision, it's the Vision that pinned him, and the Vision is supposed to be the future, so I guess it makes sense. But at the same time, I'm still like, ugh. But either way, man, just from an in-ring perspective, the overall match was good. It's just, I do question the outcome. I mean, I'm fine with Braun Breaker winning. I mean, I like both of the guys. I just feel like the LA Knight should have won this one. That's just me. But yeah, it's just an overall, as far as the overall match, like I said, pretty damn good match. I do question the ending a little bit. But really, that's the only thing that I do have concerns about. But other than that, man, just overall a very solid match in my opinion. Alright, and now we jumped into JD McDonough versus Sheamus. And this match was pretty freaking damn good in my opinion, if you ask me. For the most part, I would argue that it definitely felt like just the monstrosity of, that is, Sheamus was kind of just taking over the most of the match. Which was, honestly, I would consider to be a bit true. Now, I'm not saying this was a squash match, because it definitely was not a squash match, which we'll get into in a few seconds here as to why it wasn't. But it just felt like, definitely for a good portion of this match that Sheamus was mostly on top. Inevitably, though, we would get to the point where Sheamus would be on the top rope, JD McDonough on the ground. Finn Balor obviously was at ringside, and he grabbed Sheamus's shillelagh, I believe is what it is called. He whacked Sheamus with it. The ref does not see because she is worried about JD McDonough. And then inevitably we would see JD McDonough run up to the top rope, hit that good old Spanish fly, and then hit that 1, 2, 3, man. And then obviously JD McDonough does pick up the win there. But overall, man, I think the match was solid. I know I do argue that it did feel like Sheamus was on top most of the time, but even though I feel like that might have been the case, no matter what, it was still a very, very solid match in my opinion. I think these two put on a freaking solid match from an in-ring perspective and just all around. So overall, pretty freaking solid match in my opinion. And honestly, I think I love the outcome too, especially. I think it was cool that we would see Finn Balor use that shillelagh against Sheamus and then see that nice Spanish fly off the top. I think that was a very nice touch there. Then obviously, like I said, JD McDonough does pick up that win there, which I think is very crucial for him and the future. But yeah, overall, a very solid match in my opinion. Alright, now we have finally made it to our main event of the night, which took place between the women's tag champions, which is Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, versus the team of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, man. This match actually shocked me. I didn't think this match was going to be as good as it was, but it was very freaking good, man. And another reason that I also liked it, well, number one, I mean, in-ring perspective, I think obviously in-ring in this match was freaking very amazing in my opinion. I think all these women did great together. They had great chemistry. But another reason I also like this is just because it's a change, you know. It's a change from what we usually get on Raw main events the past few months. It's kind of just been the Vision, the Bronze, the whole world title picture that really ends the night. And I think this is a nice little change. I guarantee it's not going to obviously be something that happens consistently, but you know, just nice to take a break from having world title, you know, all that stuff from the men's side being main event. So I think that's also pretty cool that we saw this in the main event instead tonight. But yeah, like I said, overall a very freaking awesome match in my opinion, and we got to the point where we would see a figure 8 by Charlotte, then we would see a Twisted Bliss by Alexa Bliss, and then pretty much the match is over from there, man. It's just downhill for Bayley and Lyra Valkyria from there, and then inevitably we do see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, they do retain and they pick up that win, and then we do see the Kabuki Warriors come out, and they come out and attack Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, but the only person that they do refuse to attack is Bayley. It seems like, so that's kind of like in question. You know, like why didn't Why did they not attack Bayley? Is it because they just don't want any problems with Bayley? Or really, why do they not want to attack Bayley? That's kind of the main question there. But actually, I'm kind of glad that the Kabuki Warriors got involved with this, because it shows that they're most likely stepping away from that whole feud with Io and Rhea. And most of you guys know how I felt about that. I think it was absolutely terrible. So this is also a new change for the Kabuki Warriors, and hopefully that they are being inserted into a better feud than they were previously. And so hopefully that is the case. But my final thoughts here, a great main event. It was a nice change, and like I said, overall, very amazing main event. And like I said, the team of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss do retain their women's tag titles here. Alright, everybody, we have now reached the end of this week's Raw recap. As always, do hope you guys did enjoy, and as always, be sure to leave me your thoughts on how you feel about this show, or just debating my thoughts down in the comments below. I personally think this show was solid. There was a few things I didn't like, and honestly, I do think the show could have been better in some areas. Only from a storyline perspective, I just don't think many storylines really progressed. But either way, man, it doesn't take away from the from the very solid matches that we got tonight. So overall, I think it was a solid Raw. But like I said, leave me your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, before we get out of here, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Go follow the socials. Links to those will be in the description of this video. That includes my Instagram account, my X account. Do all that. Helps me out a ton. But I will catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.